Hey buddy, Junior 2000 here, coming at you with movie review of Michael Mann's Manhunter, aka Red Dragon, released in 1986 by the Dilo de Laurentiis production company. And of course, this is the DVD from NGM. I got this at the library and we watched it and thought this was a really good movie that still kicks ass. In my personal opinion, this is my favorite movie in the Hannibal Lecter series. And I still prefer this version over Red Dragon. I just feel like Red Dragon, I don't know, it's okay. Like it has some good actors in there. Appreciate that, but to me, just prefer this one because I just feel like Michael Mann's directing was better, and I feel like it was badass with some of the cast in this one. William Pearson was really good as the lead character of this movie. Um, fuck, Will Graham. That's his character name. Will Graham. Of course, they remade it and they had Edward Norton take over the role in the remake, but I thought Will Graham was really good in it. And Brian Cox. Some people make debatable like, oh, who's better? The debate: Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter or Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. I'll agree. Hannibal Lecter was great in Signs of the Lamb, but I feel Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter is the most underrated performance from him, in my opinion. I wish that like that's the thing I had with this movie. I kind of wish there was more scenes with Brian Cox's Hannibal Lecter character because he does a really good job where you see his cold demeanor, where he's like so respectful and kind, but you know he's a psychopathic motherfucker that attacked Will Graham. Of course, they show that more in the remake where he attacked Will Graham by stabbing him in the stomach, and then Will Graham shot him in the crossfire, and that's why he's locked up. But all in all, I feel like Brian Cox's Hannibal Lecter is very underrated. It's not really talked about, and I thought he did a good job. I wish there was more scenes with him in the movie, because I thought his performance was really good and outstanding. Nothing against Anthony Hopkins, but it was my least favorite performance of him in Red Dragon. To me, like I don't know, I prefer Brian Cox's Hannibal Lecter more. I thought William Pearson as the Will Graham character was awesome. Um, I thought Tom Noonan as the Tooth Fairy Killer was badass and very disturbing in the movie. Even though Ralph Fiennes does a good job in the remake, playing the Tooth Fairy and showing him how crazy he is, especially when he eats the paper of the Red Dragon painting. That's a crazy scene. And also seeing his back with the Red Dragon tattoo, that's a crazy scene too. But all in all, I just flow with this one better. I just feel like this one is more badass, especially for the finale. Like I would say, I like the finale more than this movie than the one in Red Dragon. And of course, the movie's released by NGM. I don't own the movie. I wish I had that shit factory release of Manhunter Collector's Edition Blu-ray, but that's sadly out of print. Hopefully, that I could get a 4K by Kino, because Kino has rights to MGM titles. Like they did 4Ks for Hannibal and The Signs of the Lamb, and those are MGM titles. So yeah, hopefully they get this one on 4K soon. I definitely would like to get this remastered and own the copy of this movie. I rent this from the library because I wanted to rewatch it and do a review of the movie because I saw it at the library. Like, hmm, I saw Manhunter there. I want to rewatch it and review this movie. So the movie's about Will Graham being like on a off duty vacation with his family, like with his wife and his kid, but he's brought in to do his detective job again after his vacation was finished. He's on the case of the Tooth Fairy murders, where he murders all these family members, where he breaks into their houses, butchers them, and the stuff that's shot in the movie is really disturbing. Especially the scene where Will Graham's like talking on the tape recorder to talk about how this murders took place, and when you see a shot of him like talking to the tape recorder, and there's a close-up shot of the bloody mess of the floor in the bedroom. That is some disturbing stuff right there. And even Hannibal Lecter's Brian Cox is disturbing when he goes and visits him and wants to talk with him about the Tooth Fairy, but also talk about how their altercation became where why is he locked up. And Brian Cox did a great performance as Hannibal Lecter. Like, people can say all they want about his performance, like, oh, he sucks as Hannibal Lecter. To me, I think he does a good job. He's a great Hannibal Lecter. I think he's super underrated as Hannibal Lecter. He's a lot better than the actor that played the Hannibal Lecter in the prequel, which that was a terrible miscast, but not a bad movie, but terrible miscast on that one. But all in all, Brian Cox does a great performance, and he was the first Hannibal Lecter because this is technically the first movie. And of course, this movie was supposed to be called Red Dragon because the novel is Red Dragon, but they changed it to Manhunter because Dilo De Laurentiis wanted to change his name to Manhunter, which is a bit cheesy because he didn't want to call it Red Dragon because there was a movie called The Year of the Dragon, and that movie flopped, so he didn't want to do another movie that flopped with the name Dragon on the title. Either way, the movie didn't even do nothing. It actually flopped in theaters, so like it didn't even do nothing because it flopped. So I kind of wish it would have just kept the Red Dragon name because the Manhunter name is okay. It kind of makes me want to say Mindhunter because it's so confusing. But all in all, I just feel like it's a good movie. The title may be a little cheesy, but I don't mind. It's not terrible or anything. But Hannibal Lecter gives him the news and talks about their past. And Brian Cox is on the point of being so psychopathic, so calm, so badass, not acting crazy, cocky, or stupid or anything as a Hannibal Lecter character that they overdo it or nothing like that bullshit. I thought his performance was so badass and underrated. Even though I still would say Hannibal Lecter's Anthony Hopkins is still great and steals the show in Silence of the Lamb. But this performance by Brian Cox was really brilliantly acted, and he's a brilliantly underrated actor too. Great actor. He's been in Rise of Planet of the Apes. He was in the Ring remake. He was in Red Eye as Rachel McAdams' dad in that one. He was in he was in a shitload of movies, but he's a very underrated actor. But I kind of wish there was more scenes with him. But he does give Will Graham some news and information about the Tooth Fairy killer, and the Tooth Fairy killer turns out to be played by Tom Noonan, who was in Michael Mann's Heat. Like, he was pretty much in a few Michael Mann movies because he's pretty much a Michael Mann original collab actor that's always seen in a lot of his movies. But I thought his performance as the Tooth Fairy was really demented and very psychopathic. And the Tooth Fairy killer is like not seen a lot, but his disturbing murders are seen in a crime scene a lot by Will Graham, who's investigating these murders. And one leads to another. He captures one of these journalist dudes who's turned out to be. I was surprised that this was Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang played the guy that he captures and has him see the slideshow of, you see this? You see this? Yeah, he's the guy that he captures, and that was It's Stephen Lang in 1986. He doesn't look that recognizable because he looks different. He has like orange, brownish hair. Like, it just looks so bushy and stuff. Like, I did not know that was Stephen Lang until when I look more information about the movie, whoa, Stephen Lang, the guy who played the blind man in Golden Brief, he was also in a few Michael Mann movies, especially Public Enemy. He was playing one of the cops that assists Christian Bale in that movie. He was also the lead badass hero in VFW with Fred Williamson and George Wendt. That's a badass movie, and Stephen Lang kicked ass in that movie. But yeah, Stephen Lang's one of the Two Fairies victims that goes into mentally show the pictures, slideshows about the Two Fairy, and of course, I guess he bites because they bite. He bites his tongue and throws him off in a wheelchair, burning up, and the close up hits the camera where his body's thrown by a wheelchair. Will Graham is still investigating the murders. Tom Noonan as the Two Fairy killer is like trying to psychologically like be with society, acting like a normal guy. He meets up with a blind lady played by Joan Allen, who was in Face Off. He played John Travolta's wife in Face Off. She starts having like kind words, and they start talking to each other. And Tom Noonan and Joan Allen start like having a bond, hanging out at the zoo, having girlfriend boyfriend relationship, and one leads to another. Well, Graham is trying to find out more information about the Tooth Fairy killer and where he's about. Who's he gonna target? Of course, he kills more people and be sneaky, but he doesn't have his time to be shown yet and be caught, because he does get caught by Will Graham in the movie. So one leads to another. He's like more investigating. His investigating partner is played by Dennis Farina from Get Shorty and Snatch. He's one of the assistants partners to Will Graham in the investigating case. And one leads to another. Tom Noonan's Two Fairies killer character is like getting so deranged, insanely crazy, and goes crazy when he brings over his girlfriend Joan Allen to his house, and he starts breaking down, going crazy, tying her up, playing Gada Bagada. And this is such a badass finale where Will Graham is starting to find out the information, the loopholes, and knowing where the True Fairy lives. He gets there, and Tom Noonan's about to kill Joan Allen. He's about to stab her, but boom! Will Graham comes through the window running like a badass motherfucker. And William Peterson is great in his performance as Will Graham, and breaks through the window, has a fight with Tom Noonan. Tom Noonan shows his dominance by beating the shit out of Will Graham, and boom, like shows you that he's a scary dude. Like beating him with big punches, grabbing a shotgun, ripping through a wall like a badass gangster. Of course, Michael Mann did that gangster movie, Public Enemy with Johnny Depp. But he just that's a badass shot where it's like a wallpaper where it looks like a beach, but he rips through with a shotgun, like the shotgun rips through, and it's like such a badass part. And he starts shooting a few cops one at a time, these dumber mud cops, like, and of course he's going back to the kitchen, having a shootout with Will Graham, Will and Peterson's character Will Graham, and they go fire with a gun, shooting ketchup bottles, and Will Graham just shoots the Tooth Fairy in the chest with a bunch of blood squids. They were supposed to do more blood squids in it, but they thought because they had no more money for the budget and they were almost going to end the movie already, but they had to they improvised it with showing more impactful gelatin blood squibs to make it look more impactful. And boom, Tom Noonan gets his come down with the God Vagata song playing, and Will Graham shooting the Tooth Fairy in the stomach, bang, 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 and saving Joe Allen at the end, and reuniting with his family after he recovers from his injuries from the fight with the Tooth Fairy killer. And yeah, satisfying ending where he reunites with his family. He's cool with his partner. Happy that he caught the tooth fairy killer. No more rampage. No more murders. And yeah, that's the end of the movie. Michael Mann's Manhunter, which is the first movie in the Hannibal Lecter series, the original Red Dragon. I thought this was great. Great cast of William Peterson as Will Graham. Joe Allen as Tom Noonan, his girlfriend in the movie, was good. Dennis Farina as Will Graham's partner was good. Stephen Lang as the journalist jackass dude was great to see him at young, very young Stephen Lang. And Tom Noonan as the Tooth Fairy Killer was great and brilliantly done. Even Brian Cox, Hannibal Lecter, is super underrated. Great performance by Brian Cox. But yeah, this is my favorite Hannibal Lecter movie is Manhunter. This movie kicks ass and takes no names like a motherfucker. And this is definitely a great movie by Michael Mann. And his directing, knowing how to direct action scenes and direct suspense and thriller moments. Great director. And of course, he's coming out with Heat 2 and filming Heat 2 later this year. And yeah, so that's the review for Manhunter, folks, from 1986. Have a good day, everybody. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.